Hello, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. Some days when I come to my mat, I feel happy, and some days when I come to my mat, I feel sad or I feel angry, and that is, I guess that's life. Today, I've been feeling a little bit weird about like yoga on the internet, and not so much my classes, no, but like Instagram yogis, right? So you see these pictures of people doing beautiful poses with their bodies, or I guess in the old days we would call it yoga journal yoga. And it's quite remarkable what some of these people can do and how they can contort their bodies. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it's yoga, and I definitely wouldn't say that it is the best way to practice, right? Especially going for the aesthetics of a pose. And this is something that I really like teaching when I'm in a public class. A little bit harder when I can't see who's on the other end of the camera. Um, but I like to say I don't care what your yoga looks like, and neither should you. And that's the harder part to take on, right? You'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Emily doesn't care what my yoga looks like. But we all kind of care about how we look when we do yoga, right? And this has been a really fantastic eye-opener for me to go back and watch these videos and see, okay, what my yoga actually looks like. But in the end, I don't care because I always try to move in a way that feels good for me. And that's what I try to encourage for you as well. I don't care if your pose looks infinitely different from mine. I don't care that your yoga might look ugly as long as it feels good in your body. And what that means is pain-free, right? If there's pain, don't do it. And that's a hard lesson as well, but we can talk about that one another time. Discomfort is okay though, but not pain, right? So it should just feel good or luxurious or interesting. And that's what I hope for you today. So let's just move in ways that feel good, hopefully. And if something doesn't feel good, don't do it or try a different variation. It's hard also because I can't give feedback to you. But if you have questions, pop them in the chat and I will be happy to answer them. So let's start lying down because that feels good. Right now, sitting here, my knee feels a little bit gnarly sitting cross-legged. So I'm going to lie down. You can stay seated if you prefer. If you'd like to lie down in a different position, maybe on your side or on your belly, those are really great options too. And depending on how your day has been so far, maybe you have a little wiggles or ants in your pants that you need to get out. So maybe you're moving a little bit here, just trying to find a great position to land in. Maybe you just immediately splattered and still. Your knees could be bent, they could be straight. You could have the soles of the feet together, knees wide. Again, you could rest on your side or on your belly, wherever feels comfortable. And for a couple breaths, inhale through your nose. It doesn't have to be deep. And exhale, gentle sigh of the breath away. A couple more. And if it doesn't feel good to exhale through your mouth like that, then don't do it. Breathe how you need to breathe, how it feels good to breathe. Maybe that's in and out through your mouth. I'm not here to judge you or to pass down judgment on how you move or how you breathe, so long as you move and you breathe. Maybe you notice the gentle rise and fall of your belly, your chest. The widening of your rib cage with every inhale. Maybe you feel the space at your lower back changing with every inhale and exhale. If you're on your side, maybe all these sensations are different. Or on your belly, you feel your belly pressing into the earth instead of your back. And thoughts will come and go. Right? Your mind will start to wander. And that's all part of the practice. But the trick is to notice when that happens. Acknowledge whatever thought you're having. And just gently return your focus to your breath. Last couple moments here. And if you happen to be on your side or on your belly, slowly make your way onto your back and join me here. And start to bring a little movement back to your fingertips or toes, or you can take a big yawn or a little windshield wiper of the knees until eventually you feel like hugging your knees into your chest and take a little rock from side to side. That might feel good. Maybe you feel like drawing circles with your knees. You could have one hand on each knee, so maybe they go in the opposite direction from each other. Maybe they go in the same direction as each other. Maybe you don't have your hands on your knees so that you get a little bit bigger range of movement, or whatever you need here. And then reach your legs up to the sky. So your legs do not have to be straight, right? Nice little bend in the knees and start to point and flex the toes. Your legs could be straight if you want to, whatever feels good, right? You could draw circles with your feet or ankles. You maybe straighten one leg and the other at a time. I'm going to reach my arms up to the sky as well, but let the shoulder blades drape back to the earth. Right? So there's a lot of grounding here, even though the limbs are lifting up to the sky. Little circles with the wrists or fingers. And in fact, I'm going to start to shake everything out because I really like how this feels. At least once I'm done, it feels really good. And I don't know, it's kind of fun, kind of wobbly and wiggly, and maybe you start to get your head into it too. And then you stop. Woo, and feel the vibrations in your body. And then gently bend your knees and bring your feet back to the floor. Make sure they're about hip width apart. So literally just as if you were standing on the floor, right? They don't want to be too wide. You don't want your feet touching. And then close enough into your bum that you can just graze your heels with your fingertips. You might wrap your shoulder blades toward each other a little bit more, just so the shoulder blades are kind of flat on your mat. And then press into your heels as you inhale. Lift your pelvis and your spine up and off the earth. And as you exhale, slowly lower back to the floor. So that's it. Very simply. Inhale to lift and exhale to lower. So a few of these on your own time, on your own breath. And maybe you choose to not lift up super high today. Maybe you're really getting a huge hip extension at the top. Do what you need to do. Move in the way that feels best for you. And the next time that you lift up, pause there. Right? Whether that's just a couple centimeters off the earth, or maybe you're lifting up a little bit higher. Some of you might choose to walk onto the outside edge of your shoulders or clasp your hands behind your back. Maybe you squeeze the bum a little bit more to lift the hips even higher, only if it feels good or interesting. Right? No pain. Driving the heels into the earth will help you find a little bit more lift too, if that's something you want to look for. Sometimes I like to bend my elbows and maybe prop my hips up on my hands. All this just depends on your bone length as well, if that works for you. And then slowly lower down, one vertebra at a time. Little windshield wiper of your knees. And then keep your left foot on the floor. Cross your right ankle over top of your left thigh. Keep that right ankle really active so that you're not just kind of hanging out there. And this might be enough for you. Some of you might start to draw your legs toward you, but notice I'm not using my hands yet. So just getting a little bit of core activation helps if you think belly button to spine, or of pressing the low back into the floor. So that space, that natural arch in the spine, gets pressed back. You could rock a little bit from side to side. Right, just see where you feel tighter today. And by all means, if it feels good or if it feels better for you, maybe you interlace your hands behind that left thigh or over top of the shin. Maybe you hold on to your pants or shorts, or maybe you have a strap that you can bring behind that left thigh. You could be still. You could rock a little bit from side to side. Last couple breaths. Right, just exploring this position and how it feels for you today. And then slowly bring that left leg back to the floor if it's been lifted. Keep your right ankle crossed where it is, and then send your legs over to the left. So you can see I land with the sole of my right foot on the floor. This is a really great place to stay. You might reach the right arm back and up to the right. Some of you might choose instead to kind of hook that right foot into where the left hip crease and let your knee travel forward to the bottom edge of your mat. So you're getting kind of a half lotus release through that top leg. The foot doesn't have to be hooked, right? It can still just be at the knee and allow the knee to travel forward. I kind of like the hook. And you could be totally passive here, or you might squeeze the right bum a little bit, being very careful if you have the foot hooked that it doesn't go too deep, right? No pain. And if you have a grip on your right foot, gently release it. Bring your right ankle back to the left thigh, get it active, and then inhale, come back to center, unhook the legs, shake them out a little bit, and then we'll switch sides. So right foot plants, and then cross your left ankle over top of the right thigh. Different side can be a totally different experience. Right? Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you take a little rock side to side with that right foot on the floor. Maybe you think of pressing the low back into the earth to de-weight the legs, and you could rock side to side or even draw circles here and just see how that feels on this side today. Maybe you choose to interlace your hands behind the right thigh, deepening the stretch a little bit, or anywhere else on that right leg. Keep that left ankle really active. And last couple breaths here. If you have your hands on your leg, gently release them. Bring your right foot back to the floor. Keep your legs crossed. You could shift your hips a little bit to the left to start with, but then lower your legs to the right so that sole of the left foot comes to the earth. Again, option one is just to stay here with the left arm reaching back behind you, just getting a very gentle twist through the body. Or maybe you start to send the left knee to the top edge of the mat. Generally, it helps if you sort of sneak that left foot up toward the right hip crease a little bit more. And there's so many different variations here, as well as physical variations from one body to the next. You could be feeling it in any number of places, and likely in a different place on this side than you do on the first. Last breath here. And then slowly release the bind on your foot. Bring your left ankle back to the right leg. And then inhale back to center. Unwind your legs, shake them out a little bit. And then take your feet mat width apart. Allow your knees to hang in toward each other. So getting just a little bit of internal rotation at the hips. And then hug your knees back into your chest. Little rock from side to side. And I'm going to rock and roll up and down my spine. If that feels good for you, then go ahead and join me. Otherwise, roll to one side and slowly press yourself up. And then we'll meet on hands and knees. So, still moving in whatever way feels good for you. Bring your knees underneath your hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked. Hands outer shoulder width apart or wider. Right? If it feels better for you to bring your hands close together, then do that instead. Right? Just know that it will cause more compression on the shoulder joint eventually if you always practice that way. That's the only thing that I try to avoid, is a little bit of compression through the joints. And then inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through your lower back, broaden through your collarbones. Exhale, round through your spine, tuck your tailbone under. Inhale to dip the belly, wrap the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round. So a few more of these undulations on your own time, on your own breath. And then move however you want to move here. Right? It might look nothing like cat and cow. You could draw big circles. You could do barrel rolls through your chest. You could be super kind of organic, primal movement. And I always find that if I close my eyes, it just lets me tap into moving how my body needs to move. Last couple breaths in whatever cat and cow looks like for you today. And then slowly come back to center. A little draw of belly button to spine. Make sure your hands are nice and wide. Spread the fingers wide. Grip the mat with the fingertips. You might start to feel a little pocket in the palm of the hand. It appears Hasta Bandha. What this means is that your forearms are working, which helps protect the wrist anytime you're bearing weight. Because we don't have muscles in our fingers, right? They're just in the palms of our hands and then the forearms. So back of the hands as well. Press your hands into the earth and then inhale. Lift the hips up to the sky. Pedal the heels toward the floor. Wag your tail from side to side if you want to. Try to send the weight out of the heels of the hands, though, and more into the fingertips. And then bend your knees quite a bit. Send your hips back a little bit more. So we're finding more length through the arms and through the spine. Hug the upper arm bones toward each other. From here, maybe you start to straighten the back of the legs a little bit or a lot, depending on how it feels for you today. Hug the upper arm bones toward each other even more. A little gentle shrug of the shoulders, as if you're pressing the floor away from you. And then bend your knees, look forward. On your exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge of the mat, standing forward fold. Little bounce or sway or whatever you need here. If you need more support, then you could bring your hands to your knees or thighs. If you need more traction through your spine, cross opposite elbows with hands. If you happen to have blocks that you can use, maybe you choose to bring them under your hands to give yourself a little bit more length. Go wherever you need to go. Wherever feels good or interesting. I don't care what it looks like. And if your arms are bound, release them with fingertips to the earth or your shins. Inhale, little partway lift. Belly bend to spine, beam your heart forward. Exhale, let it all go. Couple more on your own time, on your own breath. Inhale, lift, and exhale, release. And then bend your knees, tuck your chin in toward your chest, head heavy, arms heavy. Slowly roll up to standing. One vertebra at a time. Slow as you need to go. Till eventually you come all the way up. Couple loops of your shoulders, up, back and down, little wiggle, or release. And then fix your clothes if you need to. Hug your legs toward each other. Tailbone to the earth, belly bend to spine, shoulder blades on your back. And then inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Maybe follow with your gaze. Exhale, dive or fold down to the earth. Forward fold. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Same thing. Inhale to the sky. Exhale, melt. Forward fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. Last time. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Pause here, either with hands in prayer or hands by your side. Eyes open or closed. Just feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. And then flicker your eyelids open. Make sure your feet are about hip width apart. And on your inhale, sit into chair pose. So now you're probably thinking, what? Like you asked us to move in a way that feels good. Well, maybe you rest your hands on your thighs in chair pose today. Maybe you think tailbone down just to feel the belly button come to your spine. You don't have to have the arms up. You can have the arms in cactus. You want the knees to go out just so the glutes are taking more activation, more of the work off of the quads. Maybe you choose to move a little bit here. You could round through the spine. You could lift up into more extension. Right? Go where you need to go. Just keep those knees bent. Last couple breaths. And then come back to chair pose. Exhale, release into forward fold. Little wiggle or sway. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky again. Exhale, hands to prayer. Release your hands. Shake it out a little bit. Send all your weight to your left foot. Little buoyancy on that supporting leg. And then gently pick up. Weight to the right foot. Pick up the left knee. Little, make sure the hip's not hiked up. And then just a couple opening and closing of that knee. It doesn't have to be up crazy high. It could be down, or your toe could be on the floor for more support. Right? Move how you need to today. The next time your knee is open there, pause there. Maybe you extend the leg. Woo, and back. And extend. And back. And then lastly, you're going to bring the sole of the foot to that left leg, whether it's up above the knee in that sort of upper inner thigh. You could bring the foot to the calf below the knee, or toes to the floor, sole of the foot to the ankle. Wherever you need to be, press your foot into your leg into your foot. Just please don't press your foot into your knee, right? Hinge joints don't want to be pressed sideways. Trust me, I know from experience. Little squeeze of the bum, belly button to spine. My tree is feeling wobbly today, so I'm going to roll with it. I might even emphasize the movement and fall out. That's fine. Last breath. And then just gently step down with the left leg. Little shake out. And then we'll switch sides. Weight into the left foot. A little buoyancy on that knee. Pick up the right knee. Again, make sure it's not hiked up. It doesn't have to be super high. Toes could be on the floor. And just a couple opening and closing of the knee. Keep the knee out. Maybe extend the leg. And back. Right, again, doesn't matter what you look like. Your leg could be on the floor. You're still doing the work. Okay, keep the leg knee bent. Maybe you bring the foot to the upper inner thigh, the calf or toes to the floor, right? Wherever you want to go for tree pose. I'm going to try it up. I tried it lower on the first side. Let's try up on the second side. Feels pretty slippery with these pants. So I'm going to switch it up, right? Move how you need to move. And that could just be totally still. Now, you don't have to move here, but you can. And that's the beauty. It's your practice. Last breath. And then just gently step the right foot down. Shake it out a little bit. Come back to the top-ish edge of your mat. Inhale up to the sky. Exhale, melt into forward fold. For 3 breaths. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, let it go. 2 more. And then bend your knees. Plant your hands. Come back to hands and knees. Little wiggle or shake. And then shift to your hips on one side, or just kind of walk yourself around so that you can eventually lie down onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Little rock from side to side. And then keep the knees stacked-ish. Maybe you shift your hips to the right a little bit. As you exhale, lower your knees to the left. So now we're really getting a nice twist through the spine, maybe even some opening through that right shoulder or armpit. You could look along the right arm just to balance off the spiral in the neck. You could always bring a block or a cushion underneath the bottom knee or between your knees. If you want to take a different variation of the twist, go ahead and go where you need to go. Last breath here. And then inhale, slowly return to center. Shift your hips left a little bit. And then as you exhale, lower your knees to the right. Again, any variation. It doesn't have to be the same twist on this side that you did on the first. Maybe you look along the left arm just to finish off the spiral in the spine. As gentle or as deep as you need. And then slowly inhale, come back to center. And then find your pose of rest. Whether that's the same place that we started, on your back or on your side. Maybe you rest in child's pose today, or in a seated meditation. Wherever you need to be, wherever feels good. And then for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, gentle sigh. Your breath away. Couple more. Continue breathing however you need to. But let go of your breath control. And return to a natural breath. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper into the earth. And stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.